Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, friends. Good evening for some. Good afternoon for those who are outside of South Africa in London. And I guess good morning to those who are in some parts of the United States. I just want to welcome you all and thank you for taking time out to join in and watch this stream this afternoon. We are gathered here to celebrate, to remember, to reflect, to honor an icon in Mam Sibongile Khumalo, or as some know her as Dr. Sibongile Khumalo, and as some know her as Mam Ngoma, a friend, a mother, a mentor, a singer, a great singer, a woman who stood for so much good and kindness, a woman who has shared so much with us over the years. Mainly a mother. We gather here to celebrate her. We have been very sad. It's been a very difficult start to the year to have the news that she has transitioned. We are gathered here, friends and colleagues, to just reflect on her and how she touched our lives and moved us in so many ways. Before I hand you over to some of my colleagues that I've invited to say a bit about Umamu Sibongile, I just want to take this opportunity to send condolences to all the community around the world, to all the community in South Africa, to everyone who loved her and was moved by her work. She used to say to me that when I used to say to her, I'm your number one fan, and she used to say, you know, Njabula, I don't have fans. I have people who admire and appreciate my work, and I appreciate them back as much. So she stood for so much good, and it's been a very painful time for a lot of people. So we send condolences to everyone, and more especially we send condolences to the family, the entire family. And especially her children, Tsepo, Ngoma, Siyabonga, and Ayanda, all their children, the entire family. We just send big condolences to say thank you to you for sharing your mother with us over so many years. Thank you to you for never tiring of all these people who have constantly been involved in your lives and have loved your mother so much. We send our love to you, and we also just wish to say to you that we are here. We loved your mother, and it doesn't end with her passing. We are here. We love you, and we just really send you a lot of love, and we thank you for the way that you have supported and loved your mother until the end. Thank you, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And I hope that you enjoy this celebration of a life well lived. Thank you.
And you can go. And so you have that walking bass in the background there. You know, that kind of thing. So that's that side of him. There are no magic potions to break into the music industry. You have a dream, find a way to achieve it. The bigger the dream, the bigger the possibility of the reality. Persevere, stay in your lane. You might have detours along the way, but you have to find a way to keep coming back to the main road. really. And of course, acquire the skill that's needed. Like anything that you do, like anything. You want to be a great soccer player, you practice every day. You want to be a great physician, you learn, you study, you spend the time, be present. It's that entrepreneurial spirit that drives you to do what you do as a businessman, right? For you to start the corporation, you have the vision, you have the idea, and you find ways to get it off the ground. Musicians, artists, the same way. The sky is the limit, really, for anybody who dares, anybody who dreams, anybody who's hungry for success, and anybody who has a sense that I can be good, I can excel at anything I try. This is an avenue for those that dare.
She's more than a jazz singer, she's more than an opera singer, she's more than a mother. She's a mother to her kids, she's a mother to a lot of children, a lot of singers out there.
I always say to my children, to people I work with, especially young people I work with, that work hard, do whatever you need to do, but have fun while you're doing it. Life is very short, remember? You know, so if you don't have a good time, why are you doing it? If you're not enjoying what you're doing, and enjoyment sometimes is not just because everything is all good, but it's about just, oh, okay, oh, is this what this means? Oh, is this the lesson? Is this how this works? Okay, I've got it. Let's move on to the next thing.
When we grew up, it was classical music in the house, so you wouldn't be caught playing any pop, jazz or anything, especially with the gramophone or that radio thing. So I remember one time when I was coming back from high school now, then I was in Maurice Isaacs in there. Coming back, we got off school early. I don't know, for whatever reason, there was some activity. She was still in primary school then. As I was walking down, I hear this jazz music, and then surreptitiously, I think when the gate was open, she realized that I'm here, and then she stopped playing. But then I came in and asked her, but I heard John Coltrane playing. And she was, no, it's not me. No. I'm not scolding you, I'm just asking you. Do you understand what you are hearing there? You know, the kind of, you get surprised with how my little sister knows, can listen to or appreciate that kind of jazz. I really play John Coltrane then, my favorite things. So, Ganti, you also listen to this? No, I just wanted to hear those excuses. No, you can listen to it anytime. But that's the first time I got to know that she also had an ear for that kind of song. She was playing violin. She was singing already, but when she came back from Ongoy, then they got the opportunity to teach at the Funda Center. When they were teaching the Libo Nabumzumi and things. One of the instruments she was teaching was violin and voice. Then, 78, I used to play with these guys, the Soweto Symphony Orchestra, but then we left because unfortunately there was no progress. So we decided to start our own thing at Funda Center. Then when we did we started what we call Muse Africa Muse, orchestral promotions. We'd play as an ensemble. We were an ensemble of about 22 players. There were trumpet players, there were flautists and string players. But then we'd go around the areas, like towns, be invited to Mighty Song in Botswana, be invited to Lesotho Maseru. There was a lot of competition amongst players. Because what I would do is, when we get to places like, say, Botswana or Lesotho, then I would say to the people, much as we'll play the, say, like, works like St. Matthew Passion or Messiah, then I would tell them, we have amongst us people who can also sing and sing solos. She was playing second violin, Then when it came to that solo alto whatever rendition, she'll put the violin on the seat and go and sing whatever, make a presentation, come back and play again. So I think that's when she felt, no, let me focus more on this thing, singing, than playing. The ensemble gave them an opportunity of having more performing opportunities as well. You see, it didn't mean just because now he's no longer playing, then she would just be sitting. No, when it started just by her playing there, having that opportunity platform, and then coming back to play. But eventually she realized, no, let me focus on this one. That's when it started.
I trust in God wherever I may be.
Our parents were all old school post-war educator friends who devoted themselves to the idea that thoughtful education, cultural chops, and respectful upbringing would eventually rightly reverse restricting racial laws here. In 1970, on a holiday break from my music studies at UCT, myself and some neighborhood music lovers held a soiree at my family home in Bosmont. Curious but shy, 12-year-old Bongi, her father's name for her, came along with her dad, the music-teaching visionary Professor Kabi Ngoma. Private homes were where music strengthened and protected our cultural resistance and our social resilience. Her braided, neatly attired in white dress and her string instrument underarm, Sibongile, gently nudged, winked by her father, performed to the appreciative gathering of friends. And I recall that conversation turned to the complications of my music study at the UCT of those days. A few years later, undaunted by politics, Kabi actively and personally took this singer's dream in hand, and by late 1978 he was professor of the University of Natal, and there, near her dad, Sibongile began her music career to be.
First teacher, the one that I remember, in fact two of them that I remember very distinctly, would be my dad, who started me off on the piano when I was, I don't know, I seem to remember sitting at that instrument looking very scared. I probably was about 6 or 7, 8-ish. And I also remember being in a children's choir with Auntie Emily Mutsielwa at the Uncle Tom's Hall in Orlando West in Soweto. With my father, I guess it would be something I would learn as I grew older, just the commitment, the idea that nothing comes with taking shortcuts. You know, it was always important to work hard. It was always important to commit yourself to a goal. In fact, one of the things he taught me was that it's important to set yourself goals, but small bite-sized goals, so that you achieve them and you feel this sense of accomplishment and you don't get discouraged. And I've just generally tended to go through life that way, knowing that, you know, in order to feel encouraged by whatever I was doing, I needed to be realistic about what I was doing, but do it anyway. Keep moving with whatever you're doing. I absorbed a lot of what my elders did or said, but critically, my father, one of the things my father often said was, okay, that's the situation, so what happens now? He always challenged one. He always asked, what is the alternative? That was his favorite word. What is the alternative to this? Whatever that situation may have been. So I grew up always wondering, okay, so this is what I'm faced with. This is what I am challenged by. What must I do now? It doesn't come easily to me to say, and despair and throw my my arms. It happens, but it's not the first reaction that I will go for. And so my inclination is to say, even when we're with friends, and they say, yeah, but there's this happening and so has said this, and I often ask, okay, so what are we going to do about it? Because indeed, what are we going to do about it? I mean, what's the point of throwing your arms up in the air and get all despondent and not do anything? Does that change anything? In most cases, it doesn't.
Wenanele izindaba ezimankelenkele, wenanele izizibe ezizonzobele, kuhuma amathonga amahulu, ehubi ihubo likamveli nqangi.
As a performing artist, it's important to be aware, even if you don't have to like or even love anything else other than your own area of interest. But I do believe that just being aware of what's happening out there, opening your mind up to other things, it helps you, have an expansive view of life generally. Never mind the art forms, the different art forms themselves.
This is who says they are the king of Kwaito. Stop! It's too late. It's too late. She said she was the king of Kwaito. Stop. I swear she said it. There are witnesses.
It was off the record. Teaching somebody to sing is about helping shape their own thinking. If it is true that whatever you say starts with what you think, whatever you do starts with what you think, right? The same applies to how you learn anything, right? And I'm not talking about learning things by rote, because that's cramming and that's useless. Yes, it's good for passing exams and giving you A's and A pluses and so on, but it does nothing much really for teaching you about life. So the one thing that I enjoy a lot when I'm working with a young performer, because I don't teach them to sing, I coach or mentor most of the time. The part of the lesson for me that counts the most is that part which involves conversation, unpacking things, unpacking the words, the lyric, what they mean, how a singer, how a person relates to the words. Because as a performer, as a singer specifically, it's important that your audience or any person listening to what you're singing understands your own sincerity in dealing with the words. So that side of teaching fascinates me. It's a side also that I find you can never say you know and you've learned sufficiently, because each experience is unique to the person that you're dealing with. When I came back to Joburg from the University of Zululand, that would have been 1981. The Junction Avenue Theatre Company was doing workshops for a production called Marabi, which was going to be staged here. Opu James Mtoba, that I worked with at Fuba, told me about this audition. They were looking for this older woman to play this part. I went for a reading in the day with Malcolm. It was not even an audition, you know. I went for a reading. He seemed to like what he heard, and I was invited to come to rehearsals that evening. And when I arrived at the nunnery, Khumalo had been assigned to receive me and welcome me and take me inside the theater. I looked at this guy and I was like, that looks nice. I like what I'm seeing. Who is this guy? And a hectic flirtation ensued. We went out, the show opened. We went out, I think the first free Sunday we had, I got invited to they used to have a society, I can't remember. But anyway, we went out to this thing and he said to me, will you marry me? I said, ask me in 3 months' time.
And asked you on the first date?
First
official?
Yeah. Well, first official date, yeah. He said, will you marry me? I was like, ask me in 3 months' time. And he asked in 3 months' time. And I said, okay, yeah, I'd love to marry you. And but anyway. Thank you, Mumba.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Mpiwe Dana. I affectionately knew Sibongile Khumalo as Ma Khumalo. I believe I've known her for as long as I've been in the industry. On a personal note, she was very warm, very embracing, and very, very funny. I would sometimes just call her out of the blue, said, tell her about some gossip, and we would laugh and laugh and laugh. And then she had this tendency of knowing when my heart was not good, when my heart was not in the right place, because she would just call me out of the blue and say, I was checking up on you, are you okay? And then there would be in tears, crying and crying, because she really caught me in that moment when I was not okay. So she had that uncanny ability of knowing those kinds of things. And then I later learned that she had ubungoma kuye, and that perhaps was why. So there are those kinds of people who sometimes are put on this earth to, take care of you spiritually and emotionally. And she had one of those abilities when it comes to me. The only time I've ever performed with Sibongile Khumalo actually was when we did a tribute to Mhlongo, the late as well. And we sang her song. What was the song that we sang? Yisa Bantabam. I've loved her. In this industry, it's interesting because we create relationships based on a myriad of different things. Some are just professional for professional purposes, but hers for me was both professional and personal. She was the person who advised me when I said, I'm thinking, I feel like something is lacking and I'm thinking of going to study music. And she was like, no, do not do that. It's going to change your sound. You're going to sound generic like everyone else. I'm telling you, as someone who went and studied music, you are perfect as you are. Do not go and study music. So I listened and I didn't go and study music. So she had that motherly love, sisterly love, and just a love from a friend, you know, who meant well by you. So yes, we have lost a lot, some of us. It's not nice. We just had a year of so many deaths, of so many people that were very dear to us. So well, Khumalo, I hope that you are good where you are. And I hope that you locate Mambo Simhlong as well. And I hope you guys take care of us.
A mother, we've lost a colleague, we've lost a diva, we've lost a friend, Sibongile Khumalo, Umam Ngoma. She was such a wonderful mother to us, especially to me, because I went to college with her son, Tsebo. So she treated me as her own. In fact, she treated everybody as her own. That's how wonderful she is. I would like to say my deepest condolences to her family and all the artists around. Thank you for your experiences that you've shown to us.
Kubuhlungu ukushiywa ngulo sisi. Kubanye bebane worry ke sometimes xa ifika apha kwi-opera, especially traditional opera repertoire, into esifana no-Aida no-Il Trovatore. Andibuza sometimes efikile ndisawunda njani, ndithi kuye hayi sibo usanda kakuhle, suba ne-worry, because kaloku befuneka ngoku ayitshintshile from i-jazz aze ki-opera technique, yabo. But ebethi xa ifumene ayimasterishe, kuba kaloku bengumuntu ucula i-opera all the time, but ebeyimaster yokwenza loo nto. Very good technique. Silahlekelwe nyhani. Mna ndiqale usebenza naye eDurban kuPrincess Magogo, satourisha iChicago neSouth Africa, senza uRewind Cantata, saya eLondon, saya eNew York, senza uBuchuland State Theatre, senza i-Aqua Opera eCape Town, senza u-Il Trovatore eSpear. Ezininzi into enzenze naye kakhulu, but all kwinto zonke enzenze naye, she was very humble. Ebengasostar xa ucula naye, bufilisha ucula nomntu, be-understanda, befikeleleka. Silahlekelwe nyhani. Iyawuthatha ithuba siphinde sifumane omnye uSibongile, but ke kuThixo onikayo kwanguye othathayo. Asemkhulu lo Mama Ngoma ahambe, wenzile umsebenzi wakhe, usonwabisile, wonwabisa ilizwe, wonwabisa ihlabathi. Phumla ngoxolo Mama Ngoma, sohlala sikuthanda. You are dear to us. We love you. Enkosi, enkosi, enkosi.
Haliawela liwela lifela chebo miyoko ya chabatsa fatsila azania Wanantate onkudre dabata fatsila hesu Wanantate onkudre khali mambo Haliawela liwela lifela lifatsila Afrika dong haye Wanantate onkudre mietlo ya setšhaba ke lefa madiantate a disa thako tsa thebe ya Afrika kgalema Azania kgalema kgalema Namibia kgalema kgalema Zimbabwe kgalema kgalema Angola kgalema phumula hle ntatebo naledi ya mphatlalatsane ke yeo ahe phumula hle moholo sefifo sa thaka e tshesane ke seo ahe Badimu ba emika na wo samukupa bari hayi bope hayi rachebo hayi khawule hayi hlomebo hayi hule hayi tiebo hayi lwane ya azania hayi bope hayi rachebo hayi khawule hayi hlomebo hayi hule hayi tiebo hayi lwane ya azania hayi bope Afrika yohle hayi khawule hayi hlomebo hayi hule hayi tiebo hayi bope hayi tiebo hayi bope hayi hulebo hayi bope hayi hulebo.
It was 1999 when I first met Sibongile Khumalo. I was chorus master at Cape Town Opera, and I put on this dress that I'm wearing now and went to the theatre for our first rehearsal with this great singer who was going to be singing the part of Amneris in Aida. She came straight over to me and she said, "I love what you're wearing." And we started talking straight away about the clothes that we like. Such a warm, friendly person. She made, of course, a fantastic impression with her Amneris. It was magnificent, and it was wonderful to hear her singing in opera. I've been so privileged because I've heard her not only singing opera, but oratorio. She sang when I prepared a Verdi Requiem, a huge Verdi Requiem with massed choirs. She was the mezzo soloist. Wonderful for Verdi. And then also she sang in The Messiah, which was done out of doors at Kirstenbosch with Yehudi Menuhin, the great Yehudi Menuhin, and he chose her as his mezzo-soprano, and I did the choir for that, and that was also an incredibly memorable experience. So I was lucky to hear her singing in that style as well. And then, several years later, how delighted I was that we could meet again as judges in choir and singing competitions. She was there as a mentor, as a teacher, as I was, and also as part of our panel. And it was an honor to be a judge with her. Again, huge sense of humor, absolutely fantastic. And at the Melting Pot competition, where we were also judges from all over the world, she had that common sense and that wisdom, as well as huge musical knowledge and ability to switch different genres of music and singing. Such a versatile voice and such a serious and interested singer, always wanting to learn, always willing to teach. Beautiful voice, and she will be sorely missed. I can't believe that she's gone, and her sense of humor was an example, and her musicianship to us all. Rest in peace.
Kuzani matongo kuzani
with Sibongile Khumalo for more than 25 years as both as a fellow singer and as an arts manager. I remember fondly working with her for the first time in 1995 in Botswana and Gaborone in the Mighty Song Festival with one of the Johannesburg-based orchestras. I think it was the National Symphony Orchestra of South Africa those days. And she was the mezzo-soprano soloist, and I was the tenor soloist, and the soprano soloist was Sibongile Mngoma. We got to hang out together as soloists, and really I have fond memories because we bonded and shared many laughs. And I also remember in 2002 when we worked together in the opera Princess Makoko, composed by Professor Khumalo. I also was fortunate to work with her as an arts manager and a presenter. I hired her many times to perform with the KwaZulu-Natal Philharmonic Orchestra. She did Ushaka Kasenza Ngakona, also by Khumalo, with us on several occasions. And she also did the songs of Makoko by Khumalo. And she did that with the then young Dutch conductor Arjen Tien, who later named his orchestra in the Netherlands Makoko Orchestra. And she did Messiah with us several times. And I think she even did songs of Mala with us at one point, one of the song titles. And she was a wonderful singer, very serious, always delivered, and a warm voice, steady tone, not a lot of vibrato, just a steady tone. She was like a princess even when she sang. And the last time I worked with her was about 2 years ago at the 85th birthday or 90th birthday, I think, of Prince Buthelezi in Durban at the ICC, and that lasted hours and hours. And her lovely daughter Ayanda was there, dressing her up, looking after her mom, and it was so wonderful to observe that. I also worked with Sibongile, presenting her on many other platforms, but perhaps the highlight was when I was the Commissioner General of the United Kingdom South Africa seasons, when I presented her at the London Jazz Festival in 2015, along with Gloria Bosman and Thandiswa Mazwai, and at the Cadogan Hall in London. And it was a glorious performance by the three ladies. And so we have lost a special voice, a special soul, a serious artist, and Siti Lala Ngokutula Siswetu. Thank you.
Lerato la kalila hasana ubenya ka kerasa tsikiti pelu yaga
Her entire cosmology had always been that death is nothing but a transition, and that living is not ended by death. One simply enters into the realm of the living dead. She was emphatic about that. I first saw Sibongile Khumalo at the Standard Bank Arena, what was the Mass Choir Festivals in Johannesburg all those years ago. When we heard her, when we saw her mount those steps, all of us from sort of the choral world and all of that became really excited because we knew we were in for a treat. A treat is perhaps not the right word. It was an experience. Therein, I saw, even as a little boy, somebody who understood the transformative power of music, of culture, of language, and spirituality, all standing there in that regal frame that is Sibongile Khumalo. No wonder she was the country's favorite, because she knew what history meant. There she remains unparalleled. We were to have many conversations, she and I, on different matters, but mostly spirituality, culture. She could laugh. She was naughty. And those are things and images that one treasures in his own heart. But also, I could tell that as she grew, she was also changing and becoming really this deep spiritual person. And this spirituality made itself known even in her music. When I saw Mam Ngoma at the Cadogan Hall in London at the UK and SA seasons led by Mr. Bongani Dembe, I realized that something else was going on here. She was love, and she gave her all with love. And see now the petals of love that fall, following her as many people pay tribute to her in music, the greatest language of love. She leaves us now, she of beauty, of grace and smile, the ultimate conduit of music with the living and the living dead. She leaves us now. Yes, saddened, weeping, but asking for no more, because she gave her ultimate best. Lala ke manje sithandwa. We love you as you've loved us, and thank you.
My son was 11. He came home during school break at 10 o'clock. comes home during break. He spreads the peanut butter and then puts the rest of the bread back, leaving the crumbs all over the cupboard, and the knife still smudged with peanut butter. He ran out, he's still chewing his bread and holding it in his hand. It wasn't long, I had shots outside. Some commotion and shouts, then I am hearing Ulutando, Ulutando, Namutando, Bamtula. Then someone calling out for me. I went flying out of this house. Now I am dazed. I ran not thinking, my eyes are on the crowd that has gathered. Here is my son, my only child. I felt his last breath leave him, leaving the crumbs all over the Ulutando, Ulutando, Namutando, Bamtula. Then someone calling out for me.
I am a generation of opera singers that came after Sibongile Khumalo. She's one of the people who inspired me when I was a child, and I remember in 1999 we were in the same production of Aida and she was singing Amneris. Having grown up with people like her gave people like myself wings to dream and to think we can sing and occupy spaces that we were not able to before people like her came into the scene. And I like the fact that she kept our music, our traditional music, going and put it in a high pedestal. We are grieving with the family and close friends. South Africa has been a better place with her in it. And I'm also happy that I was alive at a time that she was alive. And we thank her deeply for her contribution into the musical scene in South Africa. We will miss her, of course, but she's left us with so much music. I would like to say to her, rest in peace, Mama. You did everything in your power, and you'll always be in our hearts and in our history. Thank you.
I first met Sibongile Khumalo in 1989 when she played the violin in the Nation Building Mass Choir Festival Orchestra. The following year, she sang as a soloist, and from then on, she and I worked regularly together on some of the biggest concerts that I did around South Africa. She sang in many choral events with John Rutter, for example, in Feel the Spirit, the Verdi Requiem with me. One of her great strengths was that she could sing both classical repertoire and crossover repertoire and light repertoire. And this was a great strength of hers. She was also a wonderful, warm personality, always full of fun and making jokes to keep everyone happy. And she was a wonderful person to know. We will rarely miss her warm voice and her warm personality.
I have been deeply saddened to hear that that great artist, that phenomenal singer, Sibongile Khumalo, has left us to join the angelic choirs. Good for the angelic choirs, but very sad for us. I had the privilege of working with the great Sibongile in a couple of productions, and I was probably the one most responsible for the amount of time that she spent singing opera. We all know how wonderful she was singing jazz and singing the compositions of local artists, including her own compositions. But as far as opera went, I became aware of her abilities in the genre when she sang in Princess Magogo. I was privileged to hear some of the excerpts, and I immediately approached Sibongile and offered her to sing in a traditional opera. The opera I approached her to sing was not a baby opera. It was Verdi's Aida, and the role was one of the most demanding of mezzo-soprano roles, the role of Amneris, the Princess of Egypt. Sibongile told me, let me look at the score and I'll come back to you. After a short while, she came back to me with the good news that she was going to give it a go. The real excitement of the evening for everyone was to hear Sibongile's Amneris. And what an Amneris she delivered. She sounded and she looked as if she'd been singing opera all her life. It was a huge triumph.
You don't have to limit yourself. Princess Makoko Zulu opera is definitely a highlight. Performing the role of Amneris in an opera called Aida is another fabulous opportunity, because then I was able to give voice, I suppose, or give expression to that side in a very real way, because it was a very huge role, a very demanding role, and it kind of like pushed one to do some of the things that I thought I couldn't do.
I then approached her to sing Ulrika, a short but very important role in another opera by Verdi, Ballo in Maschera. And this was when we did the celebration of the so-called Verdi year. She arrived in Cape Town, she performed the Ulrika to great triumph. wonderful, wonderful memories. And all this led me to offer her a contract for something we called aqua opera. Cape Ab Opera at the time, and which was to become Cape Town Opera, had found a spot in the waterfront where seats could be put up and opera performed on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and the audience really loved the idea. It was a risky undertaking, of course, because it was February in Cape Town, and February in Cape Town can be wonderful weather, but the wind can suddenly come up and it can suddenly rain. But we were lucky, and in Aqua Opera we had wonderful weather. This particular Aqua Opera was designed to showcase the development of music in Africa. Sibongile sang some of her own music, some jazz, and she appeared in operas singing Atsuchena extracts and Aida extracts.
Singing opera in Italian and singing it in Zulu is very close, very similar. It's an open sound. It's a even though we place the voice and we do all kinds of things to the instrument itself, but a lot of opera is sung in Italian, and so transferring that understanding to a Princess Makoko, for instance, from a linguistic perspective, there isn't really that much difference. From a technical point of view, there is this thing, this notion that you have to sing and place in a particular way because you must project, as opposed to the back of the auditorium and things like that. Yeah, but what are you saying in the story? And that's what propels, I think, the actual production of the sound, because you can't sing in Zulu because Zulu-speaking people want to hear you, right? They want to hear what you're saying. So you need to be very mindful of the words that you use in telling the story.
Joy.
this led to my last collaboration with Sibongile, which was at the Spear Festival, a complete production of Trovatore, and she sang the Azucena in this Trovatore. Demanding role, again superbly sung. So superbly sung that she received offers from companies overseas to go and perform opera for them. She went, and I believe it was in Oslo that she had a great success as an Azucena. But I believe she didn't feel that the operatic life was her real calling. She came back and became the great teacher that she was. And she's no longer with us. And she leaves a heritage of students and people who have only the fondest memories of her great artistry. May you rest in peace, Sibongile, and may the angelic choirs surround you as you sing your solos to the glory of the dear Lord.
When one is asked to speak about Sibongile Khumalo, the question becomes, where do I start? Because Sibongile Khumalo was a legendary figure. She was larger than life. And so to speak about her artistry, really encompasses such a wide field. Because also she was really just a multi-talented artist that was able to go through different genres, from choral to opera to jazz, and with so much ease. And so her contribution in those fields is quite important, and it needs to be acknowledged fully. Sibongile Khumalo, one of the things I particularly liked about her is that she was a very kind and warm person. She was not given to airs around the fact that she is a truly amazing, a truly legendary, a truly outstanding international artist. She was warm, she was kind, she was sisterly, she was motherly. She was really just there for artists and always willing to give ideas, advice, and she really was an epitome of kindness and humaneness. So that's one other thing that I particularly find amazing about her and her personality and her persona.
Tholela insizwa likaNandi elihlabe lingakamili nampondo ngalibona livunule ngamashoba ngoba lingosi yasemashobeni.
But also Sibongile Khumalo did a lot of things. She was influential in, at least in my view, one of the things I'd really like to think and memorialize about her is just her influence in the development of art song in South Africa, vernacular art song in South Africa. I mean, after she had done the songs of Princess Magogo, Hayamdana Mkhulu, then every other person wanted to sing those songs. Every other person got to know more about Princess Magogo, but also every other person was interested in knowing more about Uhati, Ukubu, in the case of Princess Magogo, and the traditional songs that she sang. And so Sibongile's voice led us in a very interesting way to the things that we had forgotten in our culture. And she also allowed us, through her voice and of course her collaboration with Professor Khumalo, to know that there is so much that we can do, that in fact the archives of traditional music that we have in our midst, we can make it and remake it in very productive ways, so that younger people, future generations, can learn about it from its original source, but also its different variations over the years. As South Africans, I think one of the other things that was important about Sibongile was just her voice, her vocality. She had a very unique voice. She had a massive voice, but also a very flexible voice. She was able to do all sorts of her things in jazz, but also when she sang classical music, she really did amazing things. She had absolutely wonderful technique, and she was very solid, and she was able to do all colorful things with her voice. But it's the unique sound, it's the unique timbre, it's the unique quality in it that I found particularly exciting. There was no way you could just pass by a recording or Ingoma kaSibongile Khumalo icula. The voice just mesmerized you. It drew you to itself. It drew you to her in amazing and interesting ways. And I hope somebody can just write about that. You know, not even her music as a whole, but just the voice, the vocality, the timbre, the quality of her voice. It was really quite unique. Silahlekelwe as South Africans, but I also just feel that Sibongile had done her work. She had done more things artistically than other people could possibly do in their lifetimes. And so I think she had given to us what had been bequeathed by her ancestors. And so when I reflect on her, I'm particularly reminded of Sengiyeza, the role she played, the aria she sang in the opera Princess Magogo, right towards the end. You know, the group of ancestors and also people of the royal household speak to her. Uguti, her time has come, she can actually join the ancestral realm. And she sings back Sengiyeza. And that particular moment in that opera is very poignant. But soon thereafter, there is a jubilation, there's celebration as Magogo leaves the earth and joins the ancestors. And perhaps this is how we should feel about Sibongile, that she had done what she had been asked to do for us, amongst us. And her parting then should be a cause for memories, should be a cause for writing, should be a cause for production of more art around her and her legacy, because she really did quite a wonderful job that we shall all remember in the future.
It makes me happy when people say, I enjoy or I like your music, because when all is said and done, one wants to feel that one has made a difference to somebody's life, one has impacted somebody in one way or another, in a good way, in some way or another, but I suppose in a good way. One, you know, it's like saying to somebody, oh, they're such a great musician, but they're so cruel or so unkind, you know. Was I kind to you? For me, that's the most important thing. Was I kind to you? And whatever I do needs to be reflected in how you take me, how you relate to me. It doesn't matter how many buildings I may put up, how many structures, how many monuments may be created in my name. That's not the most important thing. For me, the most important thing is for people to feel comfortable, almost secure in knowing that I exist, because I may look out for them, I may look after them, I am good to them, I'm kind to them. And I'm not talking of people who want to take advantage of you as a person. That's not even what I'm talking about. I'm just talking of people who understand that your existence counts for something. That for me would be, if people recognize that for me would be one of the greatest compliments, that I didn't exist, I didn't just exist, I lived.
Oh man.
Ladies and gentlemen, masiphinde sikhwabeni bethu nani. Siyabulela Dimple. Siyabulela Dimple. We are out of this world. Okay? Now to begin
I just need to share one thing. It's not always that one gets so much love.
Oh God.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh man.
But also just to say, I forgot to say this one thing to the young lady that was conducting. Sasimbizo Form 5 thina masikhula. I think maybe standard 12 now. In grade 12. I was in grade 12 when I was in grade 12 when I was in high school, when I was at the Meadowlands High School. And when that year started, I decided I want to start a choir at school. I did start that choir. And I see you flourishing and being. I never became a conductor. I got too scared somewhere along the line. But I see you doing it. And all I want to say to you is, keep your vision. Keep your eye on that prize. You keep your eye on your prize and the wind on your back. And all you can do is fly.
Oh, man.